Hello, everyone. Welcome to Liam's Leapings number 30. This is for my weekly update for the 25th of February, 2023. I'm going to try to keep this one short. I don't have a lot of energy right now. I missed last week. I was away at a conference, Life, the Universe, and Everything in Utah, number 41. Um, it was pretty good. It was a lot of fun, actually. So I have a lot of books I'll just briefly show at the end of the video that I acquired when I was there. I'm not gonna put. I'll probably just hold a stack up because there's just too many, and I don't really care all that much for book hauls. I'm gonna hold a stack up and tell you what they are, but not talk about them. Okay, so this week I don't think I read any of the Canterbury Tales. So the past 2 weeks rather, I did finish Sinister Barrier. I think I might have gotten this too. I can't remember if I had this physical copy last time I did an update. Um, but it's by Eric Frank Russell. It is kind of like higher dimension, like demiurge type of uh, sci-fi going on. Came out in 39. It's not bad. It's not great, but it's fun, pulpy stuff. So there's that. An even better and funny and funner, more fun, um, pulpy sci-fi book would be The Green Millennium by the one and only Fritz Leiber. I love this cover. It's fantastic. This book was awesome, actually, and it seemed I wouldn't be surprised if this is like a noticeable predecessor to Cyberpunk. This is before New Wave. This came out in 53. So, and I know Gibson, who's generally the guy for Cyberpunk, right? William Gibson. He likes Leiber a lot. So this was really cool. It was nice to be back in a Fritz Leiber book. Looking forward to reviewing this one. I thought it was really fun. I liked it more than The Big Time came out in the same decade as that. This one did not win any awards, as far as I'm aware. I also finished Lake of the Long Sun right when I arrived at the convention last week. So, book 2 in Book of the Long Sun by Gene Wolfe, part of the Solar Cycle, kind of a sequel to Book of the New Sun. And we definitely got some cool stuff in there, some connections even, I would say, to Book of the New Sun. I'm looking forward to getting to the last 2 books, which is Call Day of the New Sun, Long Sun and Exodus from the Long Sun, I believe. Yeah, okay. This is really awesome, though. And actually, my review for Nightside of the Long Sun just recently came out. I feel like when I do Wolf reviews, it really suffers from how long it's been since I read them. I'm really behind on my reviews, and I have been for months because I only do 2 reviews a week, and I read more than 2 books generally. So, yeah, it's just like my notes are not sufficient to convey my feelings on Wolf. So, like my Nightside reviews, probably subpar, for example. That was awesome, though. That was fantastic. Gene Wolfe is the goat, besides maybe Tolkien. Okay, then I also read Piers Plowman. I was doing this with Shoes on Levy. This is fun. It is not as good as something like Canterbury Tales or even Sir Gawain and the Green Knight, but it is more religious. It kind of puts itself more into the vein of something like Dante's Divine Comedy or even Boethius' Constellation of Philosophy. It is actually relatively easy to read. Not as easy as Chaucer, but it is fun. I'm glad to have it read. I'm glad that I can say I've read that now. Okay, and then there's one other book I have read over there that I didn't grab for the stack, but I am almost done with Sandstorm by Christopher Rose. It's a Forgotten Realms novel, standalone, 4th edition. If you like Genasi, I think that's how they're saying it in this book, which are like elemental mortal beings, kind of. It takes place in Kalimshan, for that matter, which is where Kalimport is. It's pretty good. It's pretty short, actually, even by like Forgotten Realms standards. It's not even 300 pages. So I'm enjoying that. I should finish that one soon. I actually thought I might have finished it before this update, but it's fine. Another one I thought I might have finished before this update is Sword in the Eye by Justin Leiber. This one is very different than most stuff I've ever read. Archaic, but also just has a weird style. But it is fantasy. I think it might even be like slightly sci-fi. That's pretty hidden. The biggest hint for that it might be sci-fi is the cover for the sequel book, which is called the Saga of the House of Aegon, or Aegon, or however the heck it's supposed to be said. And there's only two novels in it. So a saga, I don't really think a saga is 2 novels, but I don't know what happened there. So Yeah, so this one came out in '86. It actually kind of has some semblance to Driss, a character. It's a good swordsman with a cat. This is older than Driss, so for those who can't contemplate that. And then I am almost done again. Another book I'm almost done with Time Trials by M.A. Rothman and D.J. Butler. This comes out March 7th, actually. So this is I was actually reading the digital arc, and then when I went to this conference, they have Bain, who's the publisher here, does their like road show. They give away books, and I went for the one book that wasn't out yet, and is by my buddy Dave. And it's pretty good so far. It is about time travel in ancient Egypt. It's kind of even got some like progressive fantasy like aspects, and it's kind of sci-fi as well. It's pretty interesting. I believe there is going to be a sequel too. So I'm almost done with it though. Almost done with it. So and it's cool. This is one of the books I actually got, I guess. Yes, Time Trials. So that'll come out March 7th. I've never read anything by Rothman, but Butler is one of the authors I've read the most by. Before I show you the books, I have some short stories I read. The Quail Runs, also by DJ Butler, is on Bane's website for free. It is kind of like a tie-in short story to Time Trials. And then there is also chapters 33 and 34 of The Weave in the Void, book 1. I believe 35 is going to be the final chapter, so we're actually getting close to the end here. Those had been coming out every other week, but 33 came out last week, I think, and 34 came out this week, so maybe 35 will come out next week. And as far as writing goes, actually, so I did get a story accepted this week. It was actually when I was doing sprints last night, streaming, that I got a story accepted, which was kind of surprising because I mentioned it into the stream, but essentially, and I mentioned this a few weeks ago, actually, because in January, they sent out an email saying everyone should be responded to, and they said, poke us if not, and I was like, well, I never got a response, so I poked them, and then they didn't respond to my poke until yesterday, and they accepted the story, and I was like, okay, that's interesting. I wasn't expecting that. I was just expecting a rejection, so that's always nice, though. I like it when they don't reject it. So that, I actually don't know when that'll come out. Probably actually pretty soon, though. It'll be digital, so it should be free even. So, yeah. So there was that story. That is my story called The Judgment of Thieves. If I were to redo it, I might drop the and just call it Judgment of Thieves. But it's actually a sword and sorcery story that is like not at the same time. There's like almost no combat. The conflict is escalates internally. It doesn't escalate externally, really. No one dies. There's no sorcery either. So, heck, I don't think there's a sword. I think there's just like dagger or whatever. But so, yeah. But I would still call it sword and sorcery. I'm messing with the genre a little bit in that case. But that's what I like to do anyway. So, and then I finished a story called Watch It Water. It's also the same character actually as this Judgment of Thieves character. I have not edited it yet. It's the longest one about this character is about 5,000 words. It's one I had plotted out for quite a while. My idea is, especially since I kept on getting rejections for this guy, so I got a couple rejections, and I got a couple rejections from this guy. And if they gave me feedback, the feedback was almost always the same. And I was like, that's not feedback I agree with. Like I know what I want the stories to feel like, and that gets rid of that feeling. And I understand the feedback generally speaking, because I actually would take that feedback for most of my other stories. For example, I don't write any of my other stories like this, essentially. So, and so I was like, I'm just going to make like a little mosaic novel, which is the idea in the first place. It's kind of like a fix-up, but the idea is that like it's built with chronology in there, because a lot of fix-ups are not. They're just published individually as novellas, novelettes, short stories, or whatever, and then they're just smashed together later. Like Fritz Leiber's stuff, he would often write short stories to connect to other stories that he'd already had previously published. I think that it might suffer a little bit on plot for most people because of that. But I'm thinking eventually I would like to have a full fix-up novel. I need a bit more stories for this guy, though, probably double what I have currently, because I'm just kind of writing them as I go, as I feel like it. So I might actually take more time to get this novel out, so to speak. Again, it'd be a mosaic novel, which I don't know. I don't know how that would go over in today's market at all. There's a good chance I'll just have to self-publish it. But that's always been the idea anyways. I just thought that it would happen whenever it happened. basically, because I always knew I wanted to write enough Aryan stories to do something like that. And then I'd probably do like a collection of other random short stories I have. And I kind of want to do one for my character Renata as well, but I've only ever finished 3 stories about her. I finished 6 for Aryan. And I have a couple started for Renata as well. So I thought something like that would be fun, but I need to finish that stuff and write more of it, of course, before I can do that. Okay, and then I finished a story when I was at the conference. I had bad internet, and so I was writing this in my notes rather than like on Google Docs or whatever. And I call it A Tale of a Tub. Um, it is definitely inspired by a panel that DJ Butler gave about a Bob Dylan song, if I remember correctly. So it's pretty fun. I think I had fun writing it. I mean, Tale of a Tub. If you know what a Tale of a Tub is, I'm using stuff like that, wordage like that, and I just thought it was fun. I did start another Aryan story, and then I wrote a quick. You can go read this now, actually. Quick one-off story called "Flicker of the Salamander." It's not anything like I normally write. There's this website called IronAge.media, who they put out prompts, and then you can just submit like stuff, and everyone can go and read those submissions. And the prompts for the writing are generally just pictures. So I looked at this picture. I was like, that's better than the other pictures that are currently available for prompts, in my opinion. And so I wrote a story real quick, just a couple hours, and I sent it in. So you can go read that. I might link down. My Patreon actually is always linked. I've had it linked for months, for over a year. I've had a Patreon most of the time. I've actually had this channel. I've never mentioned it. I'm kind of reworking it to see if I can like put some of my stories and like poems and stuff on there, especially ones that are free like this, you know what I mean? Like stuff that is public anyways, but also potentially ones that are, there's a couple, like for example, that I'm not submitting to places just for whatever reason. So, and then most of my poems as well. Like, so I want to do a book of poetry, but it's kind of been, the ball has been dropped. I haven't talked to my brother about it in ages. And so I could always do my own. But I don't know. Poetry is pretty subpar. Yeah. So yeah, that's basically it. So let me. All right, real quick. Some of the books I got Titus Grown by Mervyn Peake, At the Earth's Core by Edgar Rice Burroughs, The Hermit of Aten Forest, and A Morbid Taste of Bones. A Morbid Taste of Bones being the first in this series by Ellis Peters. They're like medieval mystery murders, which I thought sounded pretty cozy, and they're not very long. The other one's like 14th in the series. It was cheaper just to get those two rather than just the first one. And then The Dragon Waiting, which I already have twice. I got these so I could give them to people basically because I like the book, and I know it's kind of hard to find, especially these older versions. An Ed Greenwood book, The Vacant Throne, sequel to The Band of Four. Oh, The King of the Slan. That's the first book. It is the Band of Four series. I have not read The King of the Slan yet, but it's one I've been planning on getting to. And then what is this? The Amber Enchantress was book 3. The Prison Pentad. It is Dark Sun, Dungeons and Dragons. This is in really good condition. Actually, I have book 2 over there. I don't know why it's not in the stack right now. I have book 3 and I've had it for a while. Or book 1, I've had it for a while. Those are all by Troy Dinning. Then let me grab these. These are not all in order. So more books. Here's book 2 in that Dark Sun series, the Crimson Legion. Book 3 has a really awesome cover. I should maybe show it to you. And then Can Animals and Machines Be Persons? This is by Justin Leiber again. It's a philosophical text. Then there's Quantum, which is about the quantum revolution. I've read a little bit of it actually, but it's by Manjeet Kumar. It's pretty fun. And then book 3 in The Return of the Archwizards, which is Forgotten Realms, and then book 3 as well in The Brotherhood of the Griffin by Richard Lee Byers. I saw those. I don't have them. The Forgotten Realms books. Actually, this one by Byers is actually generally pretty expensive, so I get it for like $3. So that is nice. Those all the books here. Let me look. Next, I'll show you the signed books I have. So at this bookstore, I found City of Saints by DJ Butler. It was signed, so I bought it. Dedicated, written to someone named Taylor. I feel pretty bad. Excuse me. I'd feel pretty bad if I got rid of a book that was signed me, but that's okay. When I went to FanX last year, I could not find my copy of In the Palace, Shadow and Joy. This was at this conference last week, and it was signed. So finally got this. This might, I don't know, maybe it's not my favorite, but I like a lot of Butler stuff. So that's signed. That's cool to have. Down the Arches of the Years. This is by Hemmeline Press. This is Lee Allred's like short stories and stuff like that. They're mostly historical fiction, but I think there's also like some sci-fi, some stuff in here that's like, I think he even said there's like comedy stuff, comic stuff. I love the cover, and I got Lee to sign it even so. And it is also signed by Joe, who is the editor. Yeah, so Lee was a very quiet guy. That's very interesting. And then I got That's Leviathan, Whom Thou Hast Made by Eric James Stone. This won a Nebula Award. It's really tiny. So that got signed because I saw him at that conference. Residue by Steve Diamond. Steve Diamond's a really cool guy. I talked to him a lot at the conference, actually. Horror book. It's actually a few years old, but the sequel's coming out this year. I'm thinking I'll probably read that one soon. A Hero of a Different Stripe. This is a new LTUE anthology. It's got Androgyne Fix story in here by Dave. And also I like supporting Hemmeline. Joe signed all of these. This is also one by Hemmeline Press. Joe is the editor. Just stars at his sci-fi, of course, and then also one by Eric James Stone. That little Nebula book was by him. Heir of the Line. This is like fantasy. Kind of look to see that cover better. Yeah, I hear good things about this one. Number 9 of 50. So yeah, I mean, epic fantasy. I'm not the biggest fan of epic fantasy, but you can convince me to read it. I just need to get it half the time. And then the other 3 books I got, I want to make this quick, are the next 3 Runelord books because I didn't have them. Books 2, 3, and 4. It's probably not even the right order. Yeah, it's not. Anyways, I think it's 2, 3, and 4. But I read book 1 a while ago. It's actually sitting right there, and I haven't gotten to book 2, which I think I was supposed to, like January. So I'm behind. But who cares? I like it. It's kind of dark, epic fantasy influence on Sanderson. You can see the magic system influence there. Farland, who actually passed away late last year, I believe, was Brandon Sanderson. If you know Brandon Sanderson is a teacher at BYU, he teaches one like writing class. Farland, I believe, had that job before Sanderson. So, anyways, that was my stuff. Let me know what you've done the past couple weeks. Let me know what you plan on reading and if you've written anything or whatever. So, yeah, this has been Liam Williams.